section of the book Kitaab tawheed, where it mentions Sababu Kufr Bani Adam. This is the reasons of disbelief for Bani Adam. Now, the reasons of disbelief of Bani Adam, why they fell into kufr. Now, وَتَرْكِهِمْ دِينَهُمْ, and why the reasons why they left their religion. The first of them is al-ghulu fi salihin. Al-ghulu fi salihin, it means that going to extremes regarding people that are righteous. This happens even with students of knowledge. Ma'al-asaf, for example, some people believe the teacher can never make a mistake. So if the teacher made a mistake, they'll never accept this. This is not correct. Okay, no one's infallible. So anyone can make mistakes. So to have that veneration of your teacher as if someone said they made a mistake, it's like you can't believe it, la. But this would lead a person going to extremes where some people, they worship their teachers in certain people of innovation. They have that level of reverence to their teachers and the likes. It's a so he doesn't know this. It's on upstairs. Let me run and turn it off. Oh, no, I don't want it. Now, so what is mentioning, one of the first most important reasons why people went into kufr is going extreme, exaggerating over the righteous people. So they mentions as the first evidence, وقول الله عز وجل يا أهل الكتاب لا تغلوا في دينكم. Yani, all people of the book, do not exaggerate in your religion. And always be balanced. Do not exaggerate. Do not go overboard. What's mentioned, لا تغلوا في دينكم لا تتعدوا ما حدد الله لكم. I don't go to extremes regarding that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set in boundaries for you. فالنصارى غلا في المسيح وغلا اليهود في عزير. The Christians went into extremes regarding Isa alayhi salam. And the Yahud went to extremes, the Jews, with Uzair. They both said Masih ibn Allah, Uzair ibn Allah. هذا الغلو. And وتجاوز الحد. This is going to extreme and beyond and exceeding the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah لم يتخذ ولدا. Allah has not taken a son. But this is because of the extremes in the righteous that they made these fabrications upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was mentioned وفي صحيح عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما في قوله تعالى وقالوا لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا. قال هذه أسماء الرجال صالحين من قوم نوح فلما هلكوا أوحى الشيطان إلى قومهم أن ينصبوا إلى مجالسهم التي كانوا يجلسون فيها أنصابا وسموها بأسمائهم ففعلوا ولم تعبد حتى إذا هلك أولئك ونسي العلم عبدت. Now listen, remember we talked about shaitan coming in steps, stages. He doesn't come right away. Like he leads you. So here, it mentions in this hadith, regarding the tafsir of the ayah in Surah Nuh, وَقَالُوا لَا تَذَرُنَّ آلِهَتَكُمْ. So do not leave off, do not forsake your gods, do not forsake Wad, nor Suwa, وَلَا يَغُوثَ وَنَسْرَ وَيَعُوقَ وَنَسْرَ. What is mentioned here, هذه أسماء رجال صالحين. These were names of righteous men at the time of Nuh alayhi salam. When they died, Shaitan came and said, why don't you put up images like statues where they used to be in their circles, their gatherings? Why? This is how he started. So whenever you see them, you are reminded of what they used to do as a means of yani dhikr, yani remembrance of the goodness they were upon, to encourage you to be like them. Then when that generation passed away, what goes with them? The knowledge. The knowledge of the reality of those people is gone now. Those who know, no, we didn't worship them, but it's just a reminder. That generation is dead. The new generation comes, Shaitan comes to them and says, yeah, worship them. Your forefathers used to worship them. So what do they say? We can't leave Deen al-Aba'ina. We're not going to forsake the religion of our forefathers. So now they started to worship them. And that's why Nuh was the first messenger sent to these people who had diverted from tawheed, because prior to that, between Adam and Nuh, everyone was upon tawheed. So when this happened, now was the need to send a messenger. So Allah sent a messenger, Nuh alayhi salam, calling the people to tawheed. And what did the people say? Don't forsake your gods. I mentioned the names of these righteous men that had preceded, that they had made images of. And unfortunately, Allah musta'an, now you find the likeness of this today. Some people will have celebrities and sports athletes, celebrities, big picture in their bedroom. They kiss the picture and all these things. They talk to the picture. And it's like, those who aspire to be like them, this is ghulu. يعني تعدى للشرك. It's going to the level of shirk, تعبد. يعني التقديس الأشخاص يعني بما لا ينبغي. يعني venerating and honoring people in a way, deeming them to be holy in a way that's not befitting. لا يعني ضع الناس في منازلهم, put people in their correct places. As I said, for example, students of knowledge, they do the same thing. They have their first sheikh that they learned Islam with, they love the sheikh. If the sheikh made a grave error, they say, no way, I'm not accepting it. Because of their personal relationship, this doesn't have no place. It has no place. You see, if he makes kufr, he makes kufr. I'm not going to say, but I know him. It's got nothing to do with what he's done. You see, but this is the reality. Some students of knowledge, they have this taqdees of mashayikh. They put mashayikh in a place that is beyond the boundaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set. That they love them to a level that's not befitting. Say they're infallible, they don't make mistakes, they don't ever make mistakes. This is not correct. Kulluna yukhti wa yusib. All of us get things wrong and get things right. And what we do was balanced. If the mistakes are not grave that makes a person an innovator or a major sinner or a mushrik, يعني لا نهتم بالأخطاء. يعني we leave off the mistakes and we focus on that which they have done that is correct. But if the mistakes are grave, then obviously maybe it may lead to having to deal with them in a certain manner, بالحجر, يعني by boycotting and the likes, depending. And it has to be done based on due evidence and consultation of the people of knowledge. Not what you find the young people doing today, poisoning the Muslim communities with ignorance. So Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he mentions قال غير واحد من السلف لما ماتوا عكفوا على قبورهم ثم صوروا تماثيلهم ثم طال عليهم الأمد فعبدوهم. Again, talking about the process of how it led to shirk. He mentions when, and from the Salaf, they mentioned when they died, i.e., these righteous men, the people would spend much of their time staying at their graves. Now, they will spend time staying at their graves because they were real righteous men, and the righteous people are loved. Righteous people are loved. People look up to them, people see them as role models. Naturally, people always want to be around as-salihin, those who are considered to be righteous. And you find that even with us as Muslims, when we see Ahlul Ilm, the people of knowledge, we want to be around them. We want to be around them. We like to benefit from them. We love them for the sake of Allah because Allah loves them. The practice of Muslims is the same. You want to be around them. It's shaitan that makes people that are sinful feel like they're not welcome around them. So they feel tight-chested, they feel uneasy, they feel they're going to be judged. All of this is from shaitan. All of this is from shaitan. It's called al-wahsha. When a person feels like a wild being, a wild beast, that when they're among people, they feel like all eyes are on them. Maybe no one's even looking at them. But in their head, everyone's watching me, everyone's going to say something about me. All of this is from shaitan, to make you now leave those righteous companions and go back to those who are calling you towards Jahannam. So when these people died, they would spend time at their graves, obviously remembering these people. But then they then built statues, they made images, and then as time went on, until they began to worship them. When it says أوحى الشيطان إلى قومه وسوسة, so this is from the wasawis of shaitan, the whispers of shaitan that comes to the people to entice them towards worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, we have the hadith an Umar رضي الله عنه قال أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تطروني كما أطرت النصارى ابن مريم إنما أنا عبد فقولوا عبد الله ورسوله أخرجاه. So here mentioned both Bukhari and Muslim in the hadith of Umar رضي الله عنه قال, the Prophet said, do not go to extreme with me, do not cross the boundaries with me, just like the Nasara had did with the son of Maryam, just as the Christians did with the son of Maryam. I'm only a worshipper. So say Allah's worshipper and messenger. يعني لا تجاوز الحد. Don't give me titles beyond what is befitting. Address me as Allah has put me, Abdullah wa Rasuluhu, Allah's servant and messenger. That's it. Don't go to extreme. Don't go to extreme. Because you would have found people saying titles of praise to show that love for the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, but then it was revealed, inspired, that he would say, no, don't do this, because this was what led to shirk in the nations that preceded. They went to extreme with their prophets and messengers to the point that they began to worship them or make them partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why I mentioned, for example, when they said, Masha Allah wa shit, whatever Allah willed and you. O Messenger, I said, Aja'altani ma'allahi niddan, have you made me a partner with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Rebuking this, right? This is not to be done. Either, if you are to say something, say, Masha Allah, thumma shit, whatever Allah wills, and then you. I.e. that your will is tabi' li mashi'atillah. Your will follows the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now you can't say that. It's just Masha Allah, can. Allahu a'lam. But at the time, Allahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam. But after his death, Allahu a'lam. You see? Because now it removes the door to going extreme and worshipping the grave of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which you still see people doing. Ma'al asaf, nasallahu salam wal afiyah. So one is to be cautious regarding this. And then the next thing that's mentioned from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إياكم والغلو فإنما أهلك من كان قبلكم الغلو. He said, I warn you against غلو, which is extremism, yani over exaggerating, going beyond the boundaries, because that is what destroyed those who came before you. Those who preceded you were destroyed because of this. I going to extreme with the righteous, that is what led them to being destroyed. Barakallahu feek, Habib. Yani, Allah musta'an, we just have to be balanced. Don't do too much, just be in the middle. People get things right, they make mistakes. Alhamdulillah, khalas. Someone makes mistake, they're deserving of advice and nasiha. People get it right, alhamdulillah, hadha min Allah. Every single one of us are ibad. We're all worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. He said, call upon me, I'll answer you. I don't have to go to so-and-so for them to make dua for me. So, la, I can go myself. I believe just as Allah will answer this sheikh's dua, Allah will answer my dua. But if I believe, no, I need to go through this sheikh because he's closer to Allah than me, this is the doors to shirk. If I start to believe I'm in need of that dua, then this is shirk. This is shirk. Because I'm making a means that which is not a means. And worse when you're doing it to people that have passed away. It mentions also Wali Muslim and in Sahih Muslim عن عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال هلك المتنطعون قالها ثلاثا. It mentions that the Messenger said those who go to extreme are ruined, and he said it 3 times. He said it 3 times. If you look at majority of the fitna that has occurred within the Muslim lands, is because of ghulu, because of going to extremes, going overboard. Al-Khawarij, Daesh, all of these people, they went overboard. Overboard in ahkam يتعلق بالمرتكب الكبير, those who fall into major sins, and also those who are not upon Islam. They went into extreme. Al-Khawarij كفروا من وقع في الكبيرة. They make takfir of the one who falls into a major sin. Again, this is extreme. This is extreme. وَالْغُلُو لَا يَأْتِي بِخَيْرٍ. Being extreme never comes with goodness. Even, Allah Musta'an, and it's become so common today in the younger generation, when they start trying to practice Islam, they go to ghulu, that they actually lose their own character. To the point some of them actually become mentally ill because they're overdoing it. They change in a way that's not natural. It's so forced, they end up forgetting themselves. The way they talk, the people act miskeen, like they're so feeble, they start moving soft, and it's like, give salams, they don't even shake your hand properly. This is not Islam. And you stand with your back straight, give salam properly. Don't pray like this, like as if you're diminishing. No, this is not how you're supposed to be. We change with knowledge. For example, we learn there's mannerisms that are praiseworthy, mannerisms that are not praiseworthy. I leave off those manners, naturally I'm going to change. I adorn myself with these good manners, naturally I'm going to change. To the point they change how they talk, all of these things, it's like, you know immediately this is forced, it's just too much. And you see those people, they start to suffer. Because now I'm repelling who I truly am which there's nothing wrong with it, to try to force myself in a character that doesn't actually exist. I've made it up in my head. This is the ideal Muslim. So what happens? I burn out, and sometimes I end up leaving Islam. Why? Because for so long, I've been someone that I'm not. I've been a whole character that I've created in my head that I believe is the ideal. No, it doesn't work like that. And this is very important to explain to people that embrace Islam newly. It's like they say, you know, I'm going to change my name, and all of a sudden I'm going to become a whole new person. La. It took time. The Sahaba, they changed over time. Because they learned, and when they learned and implemented, this is how they changed. But if I'm now going to be all of a sudden, I walk a certain way, I know I need to make sure I walk this way now. I have to talk this way now. Like I have to over-pronounce my words. Everything just becomes unnatural. And it's like the same people end up being victims of shaitan, wasawis. The people that end up having whispers, or they question everything. Everything they start to question. To the point they will start questioning to the point they don't even pray because they said, I can't pray, I got this. Oh, but did I do it properly? And it's like, come on, why are you punishing yourself? Be balanced. Seek knowledge is the balanced way. Implement what you know. That's it. But don't force change. That's very important. Be who you are. You only have to change what's bad. From the ways of Jahiliyyah. You have some people, they don't even laugh again in their whole life. Never laugh no more. Just always depressed. Always miserable. How can you live like that? It's impossible. Islam didn't teach you to be that way. Yani, obviously you don't go excessive laughing and joking all the time, but you can have a laugh. You can go out with your friends in a way that's halal. You can eat food in a restaurant. You can have nice food. You can still wear nice clothes. You like trainers, you can buy trainers still. There's no problem. But now imagine you have someone who used to wear nice trainers and now they're wearing sandals. It's like, where did that come from? Who told you you have to do that? Or they have a nice wardrobe. They say, I'm going to throw everything away. Who told you you have to do that? Obviously, if it's clothing that's not permissible, that's a whole different situation. I had so much people ask me, I've got sisters especially, I got trousers, these kind of clothes. Wear it at home. Like, enjoy it. Wear it at home. No problem. Wear it under your jilbab. Because what happens, you know you're dressed nice under jilbab, you feel good about yourself. But now you say, I'm going to dress like a Bedouin. It's going to burn you out. It's going to burn you out. There's no problem in these things. But some people are taught otherwise. No, you have to detach from the world life. Okay, if I have nice trainers, does that mean I'm attached to the world life? No, I like my appearance. It's not an issue. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And for young people especially, this is what's damaging them. Because they actually don't know how to function in society. Because they lose character. They don't know anything now. So it's like they're stuck in limbo. And it's like for long I've been thinking, when I see some people and I experience, I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is this the case? And I started to realize the same thing's happening to many people. They embrace Islam or they start practicing Islam and they literally try to be a whole new person in the same hour. And when you see people that are practicing, don't get it twisted, they were like you at one stage. That doesn't mean they weren't practicing, but they didn't have knowledge. They were as ignorant as you were. They learned and they changed their ways gradually. The person that you see now is not the same person they were 10 years ago. Same thing, I've had people come for advice and they say, how do I fix my iman? It's depleted, it's gone down so bad. I say, you have to remember, you took time to build it. So the same way your iman it became at a place that you liked it, it was high, you felt good. Obviously, it's always room for improvement. That never stops. But now you're feeling rock bottom low. How do you expect to go back to what you built over years of seeking knowledge and practicing overnight? Again, it becomes forced. So what happens? You try to get straight back to there, and then you crash. Except for those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows His mercy upon. You have to work on it again. You start slow. For example, a person says, I used to read 5 juz Quran revision every day. You stop doing it for 2 years. Start off with 5 pages. 5 pages, build it up. Then after a month or so, 10 pages. Then before you know it, you'll be back at 5 juz again. If you try to go straight back to 5 juz because you say that's what I used to do, you will give up the same time you start. And this is the way we have to be balanced. As soon as we're extreme in these things, we are going to burn out. A person wants to be a student of knowledge. They say, I'm going to go to every class every single day. It doesn't work like that. They hear Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, used to attend 12 lessons a day. I'm going to do that too. You're not Imam Nawawi. That's why you hear of one man doing it. You don't hear everyone doing it at his time. These are exceptions that Allah granted tawfiq. You don't see the biography of that generation. Every student of knowledge in Imam Nawawi's time went 12 lessons a day. It doesn't say that. Allah gave Imam Nawawi tawfiq. He was able to do that. You see? But how does it start? It starts off with 1 lesson. A person goes to 1 lesson consistently, then they can add another one. Then if they got time, they add another one. But if I'm starting to try from the beginning, I'm going to burn out. They want to learn everything at one time. La. That's why they say, Man akhadha al-ilm bil-jumla, dhahaba bil-jumla. Whoever tries to take knowledge at once, it will leave him at once. It's tadarruj. Everything's in stages. And because many people ask, say, how can I learn Arabic fast and fluent? Everyone's got the same struggle. But instead of worrying about how fast I can do it, just do it. Just go through the process. How fast can I memorize Quran? Don't think about that. Just memorize the Quran. Don't make it something that becomes a burden by giving yourself these restrictions. La. Enjoy it. It's act of worship. So you're supposed to do it for the rest of your life anyway. It never stops. Learning Arabic never stops. You know Arabic 10 years. Every day you're learning something new. Every day you've got to revise something else. It never stops. So when we see seeking knowledge as an act of worship, then we're able to put things in their proper perspective. I'm just going to be doing it all the time. Whatever I can do. What does Allah say in this Surah Al-Muzammil we mentioned? فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ. I didn't say فَقْرَأُوا الْقُرْآنِ. He said مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ. And after mentioning that people have different illness, you're not able to do what you want to do when you're ill. Traveling, you're not able to do what you want to do when you're traveling. Having to fight for the sake of Allah. And the list goes on. Responsibilities. فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْ. Just read that which is easy for you. Don't ever burden yourself. Do what is in your capacity. And wasta'in billah. Seek Allah's aid. But as soon as I try to do more than I can bear, I'm going to burn out. It's like, for example, a person hears of the sunnah of the rawatib, sunnah of the salawat. You've never prayed sunnah salah before in your life. Start off with a few of them. Don't try to do all 12 straight away, knowing that you're actually going to end up getting bored of it. I've had to teach people before. I used to go to their houses and teach their children. The parent says, my child doesn't want to pray no more. They've left the salah. Subhanallah. I speak to the child, why don't you want to pray? Because they exaggerate, obviously, but say they want us to pray 70 times a day. Like everything is fard, everything's wajib. 5 and more. It's like, your child's 12, just let them pray 5 times a day. Then if you want them to pray sunnah, give them a reward for it, encourage them. Don't say you have to pray every single thing. And what happens? You don't pray sunnah, you're punished. And then you wonder why they don't pray. The whole image of Islam when they were growing up is negative. Quran. You have to read this portion of Quran. If you don't read it, you're not going out, you're not playing no games, nothing. It's all punishment. So what happens? Practicing Islam was like, if I don't do it, I'm punished for it. So it's never something that they enjoy. There was no reward for when they were good, but there was only punishment for when they weren't doing what was expected from them. That's another form of ghulu, of extremism. You have to be balanced. Do you have a question? So one's heard that one shouldn't keep pictures of the deceased, or especially of loved ones. If this is correct, does this have any connection with chapter 19? I will open doors to other things. For some, it may. For some, for example, some people of innovation, they believe their dad was a sheikh, for example. So they remember when they have pictures and stuff, they make dua to the dad, saying, "Oh, Dad, ask Allah for us to have this." This is shirk akbar, major shirk. In general, when it comes to pictures like phone pictures and the likes, there's ikhtilaf bin ahl al-ilm. In terms of me personally, pictures are not haram. I spent the first 6 years of my Islam saying it's haram in totality. And that's based on this blind following. Then when I looked into it and I asked my Sheikh Uthaymeen, listen to what he has to say, and asked his students, he said, no, it's not haram. But they look at the reason why a person has the picture. So some say if it's just for memory's sake, some say that's not permissible. If it's just for memory's sake. Wallahu alam, that's of the thing that's mentioned. So some may say having pictures of deceased loved ones may not be permissible because of the bab sadd al-dhari'ah, i.e. closing the door to anything that may lead to that which is haram. As for saying it's haram within itself, Allahu alam. I can't say that it is. But it depends on the person, kind of thing. And you might have a situation where someone that's passed away is not Muslim. They might start making you question Allah's mercy. Why this person died, they're not Muslim, X, Y, and Z, and you're thinking about this, you're in a state of sorrow. It's not really going to help you. No. But I said which part? Are the ones who's keeping the picture. Yeah. Because as for the one who's passed away, there's nothing related to them anymore. But it depends on how that person, why they're doing it. You see? So if it may open doors for them, for that person to lead towards haram, then it will be different regarding that person specifically. But it depends, because those who say, you have the Sheikh Uthaymeen's of the opinion that if you just have pictures for memory's sake, just for the sake of remembering that person, then he says it's not permissible. No. Allahu alam. Because when he mentioned, there's not much evidence is mentioned. So it's based on ijtihad. So you kind of look at what's mentioned by Ahlul Ilm and kind of see what you're more comfortable with in terms of what's presented of their case. But as for me, myself, I can't give a ruling on saying it's haram, it's shirk, or like this. No.
So other than for memory's sake, why would a person keep a picture?
Like for example, I've got pictures, I don't ever look back at them. That's the reality. I've taken bare pictures. I just take it up my memory. I don't actually look back at it. I never sit down and say, "Oh, mashallah, look." You see, like never. Like you might just in the moment you look at it, maybe in the same day you look back at it. But after that, it's like. But for some people, they'll spend time just, and it's like, oh, remember the days, and it was like this, and they go into some deep thought, some deep headspace. You see, it's different for some people. But I know for my photo album, I don't open it. Ever. Like, I never look back. So I end up just doing a select or delete at some point, because it's like, is what it is. I have to scroll so far just to find my passport picture that I need to send to someone, for example. But I don't. But some people literally, every day they're looking at that kind of thing. So yeah. But I don't know. I've never met someone who just ponders on their pictures of the past and stuff like this. Allah knows best. No. Any other questions? But yeah, it's like as we progress, you'll see there's not much mention regarding there's like main points as to why people fall into shirk, and that's of the prime of them. Uh, Either to do with people themselves or to do with places, as we'll come to mention next lesson, to do with the places that people worship. So you have remembering people that were righteous, and then you have places that people carry out acts of worship that will have an impact on people then becoming inclined towards falling to shirk. Just for example, making dua is something that is legislated, right? But if I'm at the graveyard and making dua, for example, I might think that in order for my dua to be answered, I have to do it in the graveyard. And before you know it, I have to go to find someone who's righteous in the graveyard and ask them. So this is the ways that it leads to people falling into kufr and shirk. No. But we'll start to mention that next lesson, inshallah, regarding worshipping at the grave. So grave worship is definitely a major cause of people falling into kufr and shirk. No. So that'll be like the next two chapters talking about matters to do with worship at graves and grave worship itself. No. Class, we'll finish here today, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا اله الا انت السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So as mentioned, tomorrow we'll have Arabic first at 11.